Alright, so in this video we're going to introduce you to a vector editing software in the Adobe suite called Adobe Illustrator. Here's what we're going to be covering. We're going to learn how to open and save files in Illustrator using what's called the native .ai file format. Some tools that you're going to be able to use, one of them being guides and the rulers. We'll learn the line tool, the shape tool, how to change sizes, what a stroke is, how to change colors, how to work with opacity and layers. There's also the direct select tool. So there's the select tool and the direct select tool. Both of them are a little different. There's the pen tool. You'll learn a little bit about anchor points and handles. That takes a little getting used to when you first use vector shapes. And how to convert those anchor points. We'll just do very simple things, but enough to get you introduced to how that works. We'll also do a little bit of text, and if you're really good, you'll learn how to do text on a path. We'll also be able to create a fill pattern, a custom fill pattern, and then there's also another file format that we can create straight out of Illustrator called PDF. Alright, so to open up Illustrator, we'll go to our applications. We look for the Adobe Illustrator folder, and this is the program Illustrator. Now, one of the things that's different about vector is that it doesn't have pixels. So it actually uses mathematics to draw shapes and fill in colors and strokes, and therefore it doesn't matter what the resolution is because everything is relative to the upper left corner of your document, and everything is just math thereafter. Now, you don't ever get to see the math equations. The software keeps track of that for you, but that's what allows vector images to be really, really crisp. So generally speaking, we use vector art for things such as logos. Logos could be any size. They could be big, small, they could be different colors, and generally they have flat colors. So that's one of the limitations with vector art, is that it tends to all be flat color. However, we can use gradients to some extent. So gradients can be used in Illustrator and flat colors, but what we can't do is get too much of anything that's photoreal. If we needed something photoreal, we would need to go back to Photoshop to work with that. This is coming up. Alright, so we're going to just create a new document, and you can call it whatever you want. Actually, let's just create something blank for now. And I'm going to introduce you to some of the tools that we have in the software. So over here on the left, you'll see that we have a palette of tools. This is very similar to Photoshop and consistent with a lot of the Adobe software. Once you have a tool selected, you can notice that I'm getting a little bit of a delay here. Hope this doesn't keep up. As you change out your tools, you'll have the property windows change up at the top. So here's text tool, here's the selection tool, we can have the gradient tool, and again, mine's working a little bit slow. And then we have the foreground and what's called the stroke. So this works a little different. Unlike Photoshop, we don't have a background color, we have what's called a stroke color. So we really have two things, shapes and strokes, and you can fill them in with color or a gradient, or they can be transparent. To create a new document in Illustrator, we'll just create new. And I'm going to call this, let's see, we'll call this snowman, because we're going to draw a snowman in Illustrator. We're going to keep this to one artboard. Notice we don't have to set resolution because there's no such thing. The width, we'll choose 8 inches by, actually let's go 7.5 by 10. If we printed this on a sheet of paper, this would give us a 1/2 inch margin all the way around. The bleeds, we can just have them set to 0, and by default that's what you probably have. If we click on the Advanced tool, we have a color mode. You can choose RGB or CMYK. I'm going to go ahead and stay in CMYK, but if you would like to work in RGB, that's fine. Just depends upon what you think you're going to do with the final output. And once you have a new document, we hit OK. And there we are. So the first, one of the first things I want to do is start to design how this works, and so I'm going to show you how to use what are called guidelines and the ruler. So to show the ruler, we can go up to View, Rulers, and Show Rulers. There's also a shortcut with the Command R. I'm going to take, now you see this ruler that's on the top and on the left, and I'm going to click and drag, and I just pull a guideline. I'm going to drop it right about the 1 inch mark. And then I'm going to grab and draw another one at about the 6.5 inch mark. I'm going to do the same at the top and go down to 1 inch. And we'll go at the bottom and we'll go at 9 inches. This is a really handy tool to help you essentially have guides, and a lot of these things can help you line things up on your page. So now I've got a working area where I'm going to keep my artwork, and we'll start drawing tools with shapes here in the next video.